Hi, Dean. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Thank you for joining today's session. So, before we start today's topic, let's try to do a short recap on the types of SDLC model. Then we will move on for the topics. So, first thing is waterfall model. So, waterfall model, it means after completing one phase only, we can move on to the next phase. Like that, we have to complete all the SDLC phases. And then here, what is the thing is the testing comes at the end. That is one of the drawback here. When you have to go for a waterfall model, when you have a very clear understanding about requirement, stable requirement. But the problem is since the testing comes at the later stage, if you find defects at the later point means the cost of fixing those defects will be high. And then comes the next one, iterative model. So instead of working all requirement together, what we are doing, we are trying to split or broken into small manageable requirements like three to four requirement like that, like an iterative model, like an iteration, we can able to do these things and gradually we will keep on incrementing the requirement. At the end, we will deploy it. So this is what the iterative model. And what is good thing is since we working on like part by part, we will get the feedback. And then comes the next one, third one, spiral model. So in the spiral model, this is nothing but the combination of waterfall and the iterative model. So we are trying to add both these things together. So that is called spiral model. So here every spiral we are trying to, this works based on the risk factor. So which model is everything, whatever we are going to take, we will first try to check its risk. Based on that only, we will go for the development. And all the complex project, we will try to go for the spiral model. And then comes V model. So in all the previous three models, what is the drawback is the testing team, this is again the extension of waterfall model. In the waterfall model, the testing comes at the end. Now what we are doing, we are going to parallelly, the testing team going to parallelly work along with the development team. So one side is verification, another side is validation. Verification for the dev team and validations, we do it. V model, we will say. So mostly we will try to identify most of the errors or defects or whatever it is in this two stage itself, requirement and system. So before going for the coding itself, here only we are starting the coding. Before that itself, we try to find defect as early as possible. So we have one testing principle. We will discuss on that also. And finally, agile model as of now, it won't be, that is the highly used model in the present IT industry. So when I want to go for that, you should have some better exposure towards code and many other things. So I will teach that later once we start next week, the coding part also. That's Java, all other stuff. And now today's topic, that is nothing but the software testing principles. So totally 7 software testing principles. As per the syllabus, this is going to be the first topic actually. You have to start with the software testing principle. But to my knowledge, without knowing what is happening in a product development, there is no use of teaching these things. And this is specific to the testing. At least by now, you will have an idea about, okay, what is development, what are all the phases we have to come step by step, what every model has its own advantages and disadvantages. So now This rules, remember, when you enter into the testing team, you should always remember these rules. I will also share you some of the tricks, which if you apply it in the real-time project, it will be very, 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 very useful for you. So the first one, nothing but early testing. What do you mean by the early testing? So we already know that in the when we discussed about the waterfall model. So waterfall model, the testing starts at the later stage, and then we went V model. We parallelly do the testing. So when you find the defects or bug at early stage means obviously what is that meaning? The cost of fixing that will be very less. So the testing should start as early as possible in the software development life cycle. Example, V model. So this principle, seven principle, if you follow it, definitely it is going to be a very, very useful. We can give the maximum quality product. So this seven principle you keep should thinking on it. The first one is early testing, which we are going to start early, like we can able to find any defects in the requirement or design phase. So if we see the V model, this area we will work, because in this place only coding going to start. Before going coding itself, we will try to find the defects. And we know what's an advantage. It is much cheaper to fix the defects in the early stage of the testing. That's the one of the biggest advantage. One biggest example, say during the requirement phase, let's consider an e-commerce like Amazon, Flipkart. Now the testers identified a missing specification about the bulk discount. So maybe we may have multiple products. Now all the multiple products, you should have some discounts. Without discounts, no one is going to buy it. So that one important requirement is missed. See, if that is going to find it in the later stage, like waterfall model means, it's going to be a big disaster. You have to go and rework from the scratch. But when you pull the testing team into the requirement discussion or design discussion, at that time, what will happen? We can able to, at the end, we can save the cost. And this is what we already know, early defect fixing causes. So if we try to find as much as possible defects in this area, then in this place, we dev team, testing team, stakeholders, we have a very good collaboration. We will have a discussion. Whatever the questions in your mind, you can ask them, and you try to come up with a better clarity on what product you're going to develop. So from here, it will go smoothly. So early testing is always good. And the key highlights I have added, this is for like a summary or like a final important points which we have already discussed. Anyhow, I'll be sharing you the slides. This you have to see before going for the interview. So we already know the testing begins during the requirement and the design phase, and this prevents the propagation of defects into the later stage. So we are trying to find defects as early as possible. Due to this, what will happen? It will save cost, it will save time, resources, and if we fix as early as possible. See, this time and cost are directly proportional. It means what? Time increases, cost increases, cost decreases, time. So if you target any one of the things, on the thing will obviously will come down. This is the calculation in any type of an IT project. And facilitations collaboration between, this is again additional point, because not every project we are going to discuss very good with the stakeholders, but when you follow a V model, in that early testing will come. In that, we can able to achieve these key highlights. So this is the first testing principle, very simple, which we already discussed. Now comes the most important one. Texting is context dependent. What do you mean by context dependent? See, generally for non-IT guys, I'm saying there are so many domains we have it, like banking domain, insurance domain, healthcare, then travel. Like that is travel. In banking means we have so many banks in our country, which again insurance companies are there, and healthcare, different medical products are there, and travel again the flight bookings and those things comes under travel. And then what else? E-commerce. Now e-commerce is at the peak stage. So like this, we have so many domains. Okay. Now each domain has number of application, many types of application. The way you test will vary for every domain. See, each domain have their own application, different requirement, functions, different testing purpose, risk, context, everything will vary. So if that is the case, what we need to do is for different domain, we have to follow a different strategy. So that's what testing is, a context dependent, purely based on the context of the domain or application. So this why I'm saying very important when you're going to create a resume, either you're a functional tester or an automation tester, choose the you may worked in multiple project, or you're going to come add some new project, means make sure you have a good knowledge on the domain. Simply someone said, okay, you put banking domain, which is having a very good scope. If someone says, without even working in a banking domain, never mention that. You should have a better idea. For example, you'd never worked. Do you know anything about telecommunication? Means somewhat you can manage it. Okay, we have so many, we have seeing that healthcare, we are seeing it, but banking is not like that. Lot of things are there in it. So then comes openings for functional testers, very less, no doubt on it. If they take, they will try to take SME, subject matter expert. So the person who has have a very good knowledge on a particular domain, they only get a job. So choose your domain. For that domain, prepare the testing strategy. This is the key. If you are going to work in the functional testing, automation testing, different story. We no need to worry about all these things. But if you want to work like a functional tester, this is everything. And we should note the type of application. See, the way you test a mobile app is different from testing a banking application or internet banking. In the mobile app, you have a lot of your scroll, zoom, so many activities are very less feature, it should say. But if you go for the banking application like internet banking, the way of testing is different. Mobile testing, that itself comes mobile testing versus GUI testing. So the way how you're going to test will be different, and domain specific needs. See, the healthcare application requires rigorous compliance testing. So their main objective of healthcare is mostly healthcare is run with the support of fund only. Healthcare will not generate big profit. Understand? From the government only we will get the fund. I'm talking about in US or Canada, Euro. Mostly government will give the fund. Based on that, they will run the healthcare sector. Some fund we will get it. So they will not invest a lot of money, but at the same time, the data should be well secured. So the compliance will be very tight. So that point's important when you go for healthcare. But you're going to work in a gaming application, means here what is most important? Performance, how easy you're going to use it, usability. So this is what will vary for every domain. No one can teach this. Trust me, no one can teach this. You have to choose your area. But based on my experience, I'm saying never go with the banking domain. Banking domain is like a very complex area. You should remember a lot of technical terminology, business terminology, not technical terminology. But if you ask me which is best, easier means you can go with the healthcare, you can go with the telecommunication, uh, insurance also fine. Remember this. Travel is even more easier. And user expectations. See, critical system like aviation software, nothing but flight, prioritize accuracy and reliability. The way you test the travel, while social media platform emphasize the scalability and usability. So this is again another comparison based on the user expectation. Also, so user expectation means there comes the UAT, user acceptance testing. So you have to write the test case by thinking you as an end user. Okay, what if a user will do like this? All the scenarios. So in that also you should think. And again, development methodology, which this is not in our hand. This will be decided by the organization. Agile projects may require continuous and iterative testing, where traditional, this word you will be coming across in many places, traditional model, nothing but waterfall model, V model, involved more structured approach. So which is not in our place, but we already discussed the software development life cycle. If more feedback needed, I'm interacting more with the customer. My app is like that means there itself agile will come. But you, in sense, you are not a decision authority here, but this three you can able to prepare it. So this is also done. Testing is context dependent. I'll try to give some sample test cases, maybe 10 test cases from every domain. I'll try to create for you. Just note it down. Later, you remind me, I'll do it for you. Okay. And then comes the third one. Exhaustive testing is not possible. This, see here, you cannot test everything. Impossible. See, if you want to complete a project, development testing within a defined time, within that defined time, how much you can test it. So lot of techniques you need to follow it, and it's clearly say it is impossible, it is not at all possible to test the all functionality. See, all the functionality and invalid combination, everything you cannot test it. 1 minute, just want to. Okay. One small example. Many examples are there. Let's try to visualize the simplest example. You want, let's consider, leave about this, what it is written here. I am unable to write. Yes, something is. Okay. I'll try to do it here. See here. Let's consider you have one text box. Here you have to test the age. I'm giving a real-time scenario, and it clearly said the age should be between 18 to 30. Positive scenario, let's assume that you doesn't know anything, you want to test this. How many numbers you will give? 18, 19, 20, 21 till 30. After that, negative scenario, 31 till 100 will you give, because you never know how the end user going to enter. Same way below 18, 0 to 18. So you cannot add all the numbers. So this, that was an exhaustive testing, right? You cannot come with all the combination of value. So there are some tricks we will follow it. If we follow that trick, it is even easier. So what are all those tricks? We will discuss that as a separate topic. One is equivalence partition technique. Another one is boundary value analysis. So if I want to test this, I will test n minus 1, n plus 1. That's a formula for the equivalence boundary value analysis. So I will test 17, 19, 17, 18, 19, 3 value, 29, 30, 31, 3 value. So this is negative value. That's it. Only 6 values I will select it. I won't even test this. Within the 6 value, if it works, then this age factor should work. So like this, you have to decide it. Of course, we must have a knowledge on that. Then only it's possible. So that's what they say. It's impossible, not possible to test all the functionality with all the valid and invalid combination of input data during the actual testing. So instead of that, what we are going to do, combinations. approach using different technique. Like 4 to 5 techniques only there. We'll see at the end. It's again a very easy only. So what is the key point? Testing every input condition. It's a time consuming and resource intensive. And what we should do, we have to focus on risk-based testing, which is the most risk area, how we have to give values, and where high risk and frequently used functionality are tested more rigorously. One simple example, e-commerce website. You don't know anything, but I like to play the guessing games. What your intuition says, I want to know. Okay. For example, you have purchased a lot of things, right? Either Amazon or Flipkart, if you're from India, Amazon anywhere outside India also. So which module do you think it's very risk? Which is very important module? Right? I am registering, I am seeing the product, adding to the cart, and then I am doing the payment and tracking the purchase. Which one do you think very, very important in this, generally for the business? You can put it in the chat and I can alone read your answers. So which is the better one? Yes, exactly. It is payment. Payment is everything. You are running everything for the money, right? Your payment itself not working or some issues in that means that's it, it is gone. So then in that place, we should not allow to get error. So we have to do an intense testing. So this is what, no, you can't test all the places. So this one risk based, where it has the more risk actually. And then intelligent testing technique, like I already said, no, equivalence partition. Actually, in this diagram, it was an equivalence partition. I just took some other example with age factor and a boundary value. I just explained boundary value as a decision table. This, if we follow, we will have a very good testing. Our test case will be much better. So three, we are done. Now comes the fourth one. So this is the place where experienced resource will get credit. You go to the functional team, even a very famous quote, anyone can be a manual tester, but only few can be a quality tester. So this quality tester means defect means what? They know where which module will create lot of defects. So they know how to pick that. How it is possible is they are very clever in this defect clustering mechanism. Trust me, if you want to get a good name in your project, you should follow this particular technique. First, this is the technique you should do it. So what is that? Remember, there is something called Pareto principle. What is that? Pareto principle. What that says that you take an application, any application, in that application, approximately 80 percentage of the defect. How much? 80 percentage of the problems are found in the 20 percentage of the module. So just now, when we discussed the payment process, we said no, e-commerce website, the payment process module has a high defects rate due to its complexity. When compared with the registration or user registration, searching, comparison of the product and all, it's a very, not a very complex one. The complex is payment. So what these guys will do, no, first they will start, you will have 100 of test cases, okay? They will take first the test cases which are related to the payment stuff and they put defects like anything. This is what they know it. A small number of modules contains the most defect. You have a big things, which is the most important, which creates a problem. Let's hit that. So you have to find that area. Another example, you say this is again some banking thing. So you have account summary, fund transfer, overdraft, standing instance. So based on the previous execution results, if you work in any project, you if that project is for last 10 years, you can go and see last 10 years regression report or release report, everything will be available. When you see that, it is easy for us to understand, okay, this overdraft module is in the previous release or even before that release, this is a module you're getting a lot of defects. Maybe Let's assume this may be 10 test case, this may be 10 test case, this may be 10, this may be 10. Let's assume. But which one do you need to start first while starting the day one testing? You should start with this one. The test cases which is related to overdraft. You can find the defect as early as possible. You can give it to the dev team. They will start working into that. Maximum defects we can hit. So that's what defect clustering. Defect clustering means this is the cheat code. Remember, what does Pareto principle? What it says, 80% of the problems are found in the 20% of the module. Okay, even this applicable for personal life also. We'll do, if you apply this, you think about this Pareto principle in your personal life. Usually, some small area because of that only will get a lot of problems, anger management, laziness. So this is again a Pareto principle because if you prepare for management like PMP, there also this word will come. Then comes the key highlights. So certain components which are newly developed or complex, more prone to defects. Something they created newly, or it is already complex means possibility, right? More defects we can read. This helps prioritizing the test efforts on the risk areas. And this is the very important keyword, root cause analysis. You got a defect last time. Why that defect came? This defect related to which module? So you have to go and analyze. Can identify why defect cluster leading to a better quality assurance. So this no one will tell you in when you join a team. Your lead will not tell, hey, okay, go and find the area. You have to start working into it. So you can't go and ask, tell me the module. What you need to discuss if you're discussing with your lead or a manager, is there any past execution report? Or else the easiest way, you no need to ask anyone. This is a cheat code. There are some tools, we say defect tracking tool like Jira, ALM. So in that you have access to all the previous releases. In that there is something called a defect. You can go and filter the defect, download it. In that defect report, it will have which module. So this is what the experience resource will do it. Try to always give importance to defect clustering. This will definitely give a very good name for you. Then comes the pesticides paradox. This is also very, very important one. Even for automation also, this one is very, very important. This defect clustering also I can apply for any automation is going to execute it maybe in 30 minutes. We are going to execute 100 plus test case, 200 test case all together only. But very again, we can also use this also. In sense, for example, I put this for automation. You have 500 test case, okay? You have only like 2 to 3 days of time, or you can't execute all 500 test case. They said, for now, I want you to complete a regression. So choose some 150 test case. How will you choose a 150 test case? You have to apply this defect clustering. Okay, previous, which module created more defect, find that module test case, go and execute it. You find more defects. So very useful for both the team. Pesticide paradox. So if you know a little bit about agriculture, what literally happens is when they grow any plant, so they used to put pesticides, right? For the insect. It should not spoil the crop or something. If they keep using the same pesticides, you know what will happen? At one point of time, these insects will get used to it. It will not die. Even you can see many in shorts video, you have a mosquito coil. Above that, a mosquito go and will sit. I've seen many videos, even I have seen it in the real. So it means what? For that particular liquid smell, this mosquito got used to it. It got its own immunity. So same way, that is what the logic they are applying here. If you're going to execute same repetitive test, repetitiveness, same test case, you create 100 test case, or 20 or 30, 40. You're going to execute same thing again, again, again. You're not updating according to the present trends. At one point of time, it will be useless for discovering a new defect. So, how can we overcome this? So, how can they overcome when it comes for agriculturers? They try with the different combinations of pesticides. You can go and check with agriculture. Right? That is what they will never use the same pesticide. They keep on changing according to the seasons. Same way, to overcome this test case, we need to regularly reviewed, revised, adding new different test case to find more defects. So this is our duty. No one will tell you when you're working in a team. Did you updated the test case? See, you will involve in the requirement discussion. You will involve means you will have a discussion with the requirements team, customers, product owner. You will have the document. Now you have to understand, okay, this is an area creating a lot of defects. For example, let me apply this defect clustering. Without this, you are not going to do anything. Now, this overdraft created a lot of test cases means your intuition, what should happen in the next. Try to increase more test case on this area rather than always keeping it as 10. Now what you can do, maybe additionally find new test cases, you can add it, update the previous one so that it will find the defect. So this is what the trick. Pesticide paradox. So if a login form is tested repeatedly with the same input combination, it might miss uncovering defect related to like extremely long string, unsupported characters, or invalid format. So this happened. Like, even yesterday when I said no in one of the demo, it happened. The search box, the customer what 5,000 character the person inserted into the search box and clicked on search. Trust me that it the application got crashed. It happened in the demo in one of my project. And for that agile sprint, they didn't pay anything. All the user stories got rejected. So it means what? Testing was not done properly, or they didn't think it in that way. So we have to keep updating this. Remember, this is what everything in functional testing. Pesticide paradox, defect clustering. This is again a part. It is to the domain knowledge. This is not in our hand, it is in the organization hand. So we will come back to that all point again. So what they say, reusing the same test case only detects previous identified types of defect. So don't use the same thing. So you must be regularly reviewed, updated, diversified. Try to bring some new technique, scenarios, ensure continuous defect. Usually how I will find something is I'm going in the right direction or not. Every release we will say release one, like quarterly release, every 3 months release or 4 months one release. We will try to find the defects. This defect should go like this. At one point of time, if it gradually comes, then there is a problem with the test case. No doubt on it. Maybe in your future project, go and check it, generate the report for last 2 to 3 years from Jira or ALM. We can do it and see what was the defect, total defects. It should increase and it should not have sudden decrease or something happens means then you have to look into those test case. And now you think, see this pesticides paradox, defect clustering. I'm just asking, is it possible for AI to do this? Especially pesticide paradox. Do you think AI can do it? Do you think automation test case can do it? You think impossible, guys? Impossible. It can't do it. So that's why on day one itself, I said it is not possible for the automation tester itself to replace the functional testing because both of them human. Then how come an AI can do it? Impossible. But what AI can do it is you can ask them, okay, write me the test cases by following this. It will give 10 test case. Not enough. Give me 10 more test case. This is how you should work with the AI, like ChatGPT. Like that, you can improve your test case, but it cannot think by itself. Only you can do it. So no replacement for QET. Now, sixth one, testing shows the presence of defect. What that means? So usually you can able to see in every ad 99.99 percentage it will kill germs. But is anyone said, anyone in your life heard 100 percentage? You see any product, any, and no one will say that. 100 percentage, it's not at all possible. So what they say is, if you're testing something and you found no defect, it doesn't mean the product is 100 percentage defect free. No, there will be some areas you can able to find the defect, but maybe not as per the requirement. We tested as per the requirement and no defect found. That doesn't show. See, that is what, see, the testing is to find more and more hidden defects using different technique and methods we will follow. And this testing can reveal undisclosed defects. If no defects are found, it doesn't mean software is defect free. You can't see 100%. Definitely every product will have the some defects. Somewhere some hidden will be there. That's why even now, you take any big companies, they will conduct a hackathon yearly once. They give a very big bounty. If you're a very good security testing, you can go and test any application, find the loophole, you will get it like thousands of dollars just like that. So loophole. So there will be some loopholes. We have to find it. So even if testers cannot find the defect after repeating regression testing, it doesn't mean 100% bug free. Remember, don't take it for granted. So for us, I have created the test case, test scenarios, tested, no defect find. With that, do never say to anyone 100%. And one of the biggest example is payroll application. All the tests are typically scenarios. An edge case with unusual tax calculation reveals a bug during the real world use. This is one of the things. Even whenever we file income tax in India, always the Infosys word will come. We are unable to file it, performance issue. So this every year, they also come up with some better performance testing will be done. They know what's our population. But even then, last day, the system will crash. You can check the news. So that's what they won't say 100%. They will say, my system can withstand this much number of course people you can able to file the tax. Like that, they will be clearly mentioning in the objective or test plan. Key highlights. Testing can reduce the likelihood of undiscovered defect, but cannot ensure it's a perfect software. Even a well-tested application may have hidden bugs, especially under rare or untested condition. Possibilities are there. Focus on, so we have to always focus on high risk area, critical functionality to not to come into this type of problem. So maximum defects we should find. So critical area, high risk area means defect clustering will help you. And then scenarios, conditions will help you. Now the last one, absence of error. This is only little bit it will confuse. See, if a software is tested fully and if no defects were found before release, then we can say the software is 99% defect free. If you think like that, then it's a problem. What if the software is tested for wrong requirement? You're saying I tested everything, I can't find the defect. But you're testing for a wrong requirement. You have to test for the right requirement. This talks about the requirement. In the next slide, I will summarize. You can take a snapshot and prepare later. So what they are saying, absence of error. Just because an absence of an error, it means you can't find any defect. If you say 99% defect free, that doesn't mean it's good. You have to test against the correct requirement. If you're going to test it in a wrong requirement, in such case, it will not find defect. Even finding defect, fixing time on the time would not help us. Testing is performed on wrong requirement, which are not as per the needs of the end user. This type of problem will not come. A lot of reviews will happen. No chance to come into this scenario. And the software which we build, not it is what they are saying. You should not think about bug alone. you should also think about the requirement. The definition I said, no, you're doing testing according to the requirement to find the defect, give a reliable quality product. These three words only they are trying to come here. 99 bug free, but also must fulfill the business requirement. Otherwise, it's an unstable software. Example, travel booking application thoroughly tested for defect but does not allow user to customize search filters as expected, leading to poor user experience. So software can be bug free, but still it is unstable, inefficient, irrelevant if doesn't follow the requirement. And then, so success depends on functionality, usability, performance, customer satisfaction. Don't always focus on defect. This problem will come when you work with functional as a functional tester. You will have like 4 to 5 people as a work team, you as a team, right? We always ask how many defect this guy raised. This guy may be 10, another one may be 12. So your thought process should not go behind the defect. It should go behind the requirement and test properly. And testing shows focus on validation that the software fulfill its intended purpose. So for what reason you are developing, that is very important. So these are all the 7 software testing principle summary. So let me summary. Let me tell everything. What is important in early testing? Why we are doing it? What is the consequence of this? It gives, if you're going to do early testing means better quality, cost effective, reduced project risk. At the end, if something changes, maybe another best example, you're going to build a home. In the starting itself, the blueprint itself, you have to go and find it. You almost everything is done. Now you go and see at the end, you see some big changes, means you cannot modify just like that. It's a building. Now that level of impact also will come for the software. It's not like code only, right? We can fix it. No, very, very complex. So early testing ideology is for quality, cost effective, reduced project risk. And the context dependent testing is. This ensures it is relevant, effective, aligned with project goals, nothing but domain specific. We have to make sure for this domain, this is how we are targeting. Effective, relevant means relevant to the domain, all the test cases, project goals, everything. Exhaustive testing. Why we doing this? We are ensuring that efforts are efficient, practical, and focused on area which has higher risk or impact. We are applying this. We make sure that we are testing all the important areas, following all the principles, tricks. Defect clustering, targeting, testing for efficiency, effectiveness. Why we are applying that? Because of very efficiently we can do that. And pesticide paradox. This is for adaptability, creativity in test case design, because you should keep on updating, right? According to the situation, you are adapting it. And presence of defects. It reminds the testers and the stakeholders, to everyone, what they say is we are improving the quality, but never provide absolute assurance of defect absence. You can't say to anyone, my product is 100% defect free. You cannot do it. That's why this principle they kept it. And again, this absence of error talks about importance of requirement. You have to test as per the requirement. You have to meet the user expectation. It's not about just fixing of bugs. So 7 principle, you must apply it when you work. You have all the models, every model you can do it. Early testing, it's not in your hand, it's in the company. It is you have to prepare. Okay, you have to prepare. This is also belongs to you. This this can be prepared now itself based on your project. This is after going into the project. This is after going into the project. This to management. This is again, it's not, it just says that don't take it for granted. And this says that When you write a test case, always remember you are following the requirement. Anyhow, we will have a very detailed requirement. So this is not going to be a big issue. 2 points, you can do it only after entering the project. But these two is very important. From here only, you will get a lot of interview questions. And they may ask how, definitely they will ask how you make your test case more effective. Is there any trick you will follow? Means what they are saying, are you applying any principle? Means you should know which one to tell. 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's about the 7 testing principles. So drop a message in the Zoom meeting chat. Everyone good till now? All good. Please note down all your queries once I stop the end streaming. Then we can discuss on it. Perfect. Types of manual testing. So now we are moving into the next part. So what we learned till now is just the fundamentals only. Principles, software development, nothing related to testing. Last 7 principles, somewhat related to testing, we entered it. Now we are going fully into the testing part. So usually this manual testing is divided into 3 types. One is white box testing, black box testing, gray box testing. This white box testing will be done by the dev team. Black box testing will be done by the QA team. This is white plus blacks. So very rarely, to be frank, it's all theory. In real time and all, development team will never allow QA team to come and work on their code, or they won't ask us to do the unit testing. It's impossible. Whichever the project ever, maximum you can put, if you're from automation team, you can help them on maybe creating the builds, auto builds, some settings you can do it. I'm talking the reality. This is our area, but still we will learn what is happening in the development side, and also this, what is the meaning of this gray box testing. So white box testing is nothing but it's again a testing technique that focus. See, again, when you go for the certification like ISTQB, these terminologies are very, very important. What they say is the main focus is, because I said it's a developer, okay? You're not that, you're not going to do it. Developer means going, the person going to code it. So they will check their internal structure and logic of the application code. They will try to examine. Their main focus will be security, flow of input, output through the application. For example, you are sending a money from one bank to the another bank, means what should happen? The opposite person should be able to get it. It's not, it should go to the some other person. So the value, the flow should go from starting till end, or else one end to end. So that internal everything, they will check it. So you just send the money, will it go? No, it should go and check whether you first of all have that balance. First thing, you are sending that account, is it within India or outside India? Do you have access to that? It is enabled. Like that, so many logics they will write it, and based on that only they will test it. So that is what they say is improves the designs and usability through this application. Their main objective is the code functions correctly and effectively. What they have written, it should work properly. And they will evaluate how program handles different input and flows through the different path in the code. The primary goal is to identify defects, code errors. This is very important. Potential vulnerabilities that may not be apparent for the external perspectives. For example, you logged into the application, you opened the another tab. Okay, I'm just saying banking application. You open user. Now you duplicate the tab. 2 tabs you can use. Suppose if you log out one tab, automatically it should not allow me to open the another tab, right? You should not allow to do it. So many ways of testing they will do it. Many techniques are there, I'll tell you. And this is for the ISTQB. what is white box testing? So many names are there: clear box, open box, structured, transparent, code based. Code based is commonly used one. Glass box. Everything related to code, the structure, the framework, the data flow, integration part on their architecture. This is what we called as white box testing. So when a developer is going, this is called a white box testing. In that, what they do is only one testing they do, that is called unit testing. Remember, even though the word testing is there, the unit testing will be done by the development team. So what exactly do yesterday itself we discussed? You may have multiple modules, but okay, you may have a 10 modules, module 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. So they will code it and test one by one, code it, test by one. Like that, they will test individually. Maybe this will be done by the developer one, this will be done by the developer two, this will be done developed by developer three. Now, these three guys will have one common tester. Again, he's a developer. Remember, he's a developer. He or she is a developer. Will use the automation code like JUnit testing, or if it is a Java application, they will use JUnit. If it is a .NET, NUnit framework will be used, and the person will test it. Keep raising the defect within the development team itself. This will happen. Not they didn't integrate it. Remember, they didn't integrate it. Unit by unit functionality they will do it. So unit testing is a fundamental and essential level of software testing that focus on correctness of individual units, components, and software application. Now, if you are already from QA, you may get a question. They are testing individually all the defect clause, then how come when they integrate defects are coming means because so many APIs, so many versions of softwares are there. When you do the integration only, the whether the data will flow, so many problems will come. The problem starts when you integrate it. So a unit is the context refers to the smallest testable part of the code. Typically, it may be a function, method, or a procedure, a small part of the code. The main objective is the primary goal to ensure each unit of the software performs as expected. You give a proper input, you get the proper output, like that. Unit testing will be done. And again, sometimes what they do in real time project and all, they will not have the time. They know we have the tester, right? They will do so. They will, without doing unit testing itself, they will integrate and give it to the testing team. Like that, also, it will happen when if both the teams are from the same organization, but both are different organization means at the end there are some management stuffs are there, the defects that is related to the cost. Many things will come. So according to the project framework or structure you work, things will be different. Why to do unit testing? Because I want to find the defect early. If you find defect early, we can reduce the cost. This will increase the code quality, very fast development cycle. Refactoring means what? You're trying to update your code based on the defect. Good documentation, I'm maintaining the code collaboration, and you're trying to integrate and deploy continuously, better software design and increase confidence in software because you found a lot of defects in the early stage. This is why we are doing the unit testing. And they follow this five techniques. Of course, this is not important for us. Maybe for knowledge purpose, you know, there is something called statement coverage, branch, path, conditional, looping testing. You can Google it. If not now, later, once you complete all the syllabus. So these are the techniques they will use. Same way, we will also use some techniques. We will discuss that later. So this is what white box testing. The first one is done. Now, tomorrow or day after tomorrow, I'll drop a message in the group. Tomorrow I have another meeting. If so, tomorrow evening I will not have the class. Wednesday we will have the class. I'll confirm as early as possible. Then comes the next topic is going to be a black box testing, nothing but our area. We are not worried about what you have written the code. I give input, I should get the expected output. So that is what we are going to see. The internal code. See, tester without looking. Internal code structure, implementation details, knowledge of internal parts. I don't worry about anything. I give an input. This is what the expected output I should get it. So that we can define it. This is and here only functional testing, non-functional testing. What is the functional testing? We have so many levels. So from now only this terminologies, whatever we are going to see, it's all important one. Till now, it's like a warm-up, getting the all testing terminology, development terminology. But from next class onwards, every topic is important. We are going to use that in the real-time scenarios. So that's for today, team. First, I will going to stop the end stream, and rest of the team members in the Zoom, please wait. We will discuss now. Thank you for you guys.